Update with Alex Blake. I'm your host, Alex Blake, and today I'm sick. So if I sound a little bit extra, raspy or nasally, you're welcome. I just got back from California and I think I got like the plain cooties. You guys know what I'm talking about? Where you like just get sick. Both Zach and I are like travel sick right now. So it's not very fun, but I will say I do feel like the best that I have today. So we're on the mend, guys. We're making it work. But yeah, today we get to chat about some funny things. I figured because I was sick, I wouldn't do anything that was like too crazy, So instead of doing more of like the educational route, I was like, let's just hang out. Let's laugh together. Let's talk. And what I wanted to do today was a couple episodes ago, I did like horror stories that you guys submitted, which was so fun. And so I decided to bring it back by popular demand. But instead of your stories, it's just like funny Reddit stories. So I actually haven't read them at all. I literally went into ChatGPT and I said, give me the top, I can't even remember how many I did. Let's see. The top 10. Yeah, that was an easy number. That makes sense. Anyway, I said like, okay, give me the best top 10 Reddit stories for me to read on my podcast. And these are the ones that they gave me. So thank you, ChatGPT. Let's see what they said. But before we get to that, let me tell you guys little life updates. Like I said, went to California. I'm now sick. But during California, I was not sick. And it was so good, guys. Like our trip to California. So last week, we told you a little bit about it before we left, but Zach, my husband, and I went there for a church, like pastoral training kind of thing. And we did vlog it, by the way. I haven't posted it yet, but I will post it soon. So now I've said it to you, so it holds me accountable. But yeah, we vlogged our trip, so I'll share it all with you anyway. But it definitely was like really awesome. Like the training itself was really great. We have the amazing privilege of getting to lead a church here in the Charleston area. So it was just like I said, awesome training, but then also great community through it. So you guys know I'm a big fan of community. But yeah, we had some friends who randomly were also at the training at the same time, and we hadn't seen them in years. So we got to spend time with them and have really, really awesome time. And one of them, it was like her birthday during the trip. So we got to celebrate her. And then I also got to see a photo camp attendee from the April camp. And we did like a little photo swap together. She took pictures of me and Zach. I posted some of them, but some of them I'm going to wait for. And then I got to take some pictures of her. So it was just overall a great trip. And I don't know if you guys have ever been to California, but I freaking love California. Like, of course, I love Charleston. I love being at home. Like, I love that this gets to be my home. But I'm sorry. Why is California like stunning? Like all of the West Coast, if you live in the West, you don't understand how good you have it. Like, sure, love the East Coast because I'm from here, like pride and everything, for it. But are you kidding me? Like cliffs that go into the ocean, we do not get that here. And like, again, love our beaches. There's beauty in them too. But also California, okay? So I loved, I'm getting my blanket on while we talk if you're watching on YouTube. You guys know, gotta be comfy cozy. Anyway, though, I brought like my camera, and something I've been doing while traveling lately that's been fun for me. I normally shoot on like my 24-70, but I've been bringing like my just nifty 50 and putting that on my camera. It makes my camera so light and so easy. And obviously it's a digital camera, but it kind of feels a little bit more like shooting film. Obviously it's a digital camera, so it's not film, but like when you feel a little bit more, I feel like just anything with a prime lens kind of feels a little bit more like primitive because you have to like move back and forth, and I am used to my zoom, but also because of how small the 50 is, and it's a 1.8, so like it's a great aperture for what it is. I think it's like $200. If you shoot Canon, I think it's even cheaper than that. But for Sony, I think it's like 200 something. And so it's just like a great bang for your buck. If you're like a starter and you're a beginner and you're looking for a lens, I highly recommend that one for your camera. But like I said, for traveling, it's like so great because it's just like light and you can carry it around. So I took pictures of California while we were there. Like as we were walking, we were in like Orange County. So we got to like walk. I got to see one of my friends that I've known for gosh, probably like 10 years. She was my roommate during like my college years when I lived in Florida, and she lives there. So we like did a cute little sunset walk with her, and I brought my camera around and just took pictures. And yeah, I posted those. Loved them because I felt like I was shooting a little bit more like candidly in the moment, filmy, even though it was digital. I added lots of grain and I was here for it. I'm not normally a grain lover for like my senior portraits and stuff like that, but I think I'm in it. I think I'm like on the grain train. There's like the grain train. Stop. I'm making fun of myself for that one. Anyway, I go through phases with grain where I like love it, but I feel like for my work and my typical client, grain doesn't work. But when it's something fun like that, I'm adding all the grain. I loved it. And then I added it too from like the photos that Amy took, the photo camp attendee that I met up with, that she took of me and Zach. I added grain to that too. And I was like, chef's kiss. I love it. Anyway, so California was really good. I'm pumped because this week, hopefully I'll start feeling better. And then next week I get to go to Utah. So I am like over up in the West this month. It's great. But yeah, I'm going to Utah to meet up with my friend Megan. She was on the podcast a couple weeks ago. So if you haven't gotten to listen to that one, go listen to it. It's about finding your photography style. And Megan is hosting something kind of similar to Photo Camp, but it's her own called Creative Co. And it's like a styled shoot, educational thing. And I am speaking at it. So I'm pumped about it. I get to see lots of people who were actually at Photo Camp and also attending hers. So it's going to be really fun, kind of like a little reunion. And then I get to meet some new friends too. So if you're listening to this and you're going to be there, swipe up on my story, DM me, like let me know. I want to talk to you before meeting you. I'm so excited. It's going to be so fun. And Megan and I met in Utah too. So it's like, yeah. Oh, I'm just so excited. I love traveling. So like getting to travel so close back to back with each other is just like exciting to me. Okay. I think those are all my life updates. Let me check. Oh, I don't really know why I wanted to update you guys on this, but I did write down that I have small group tonight. I feel like I talk about small group so much that you just need to know my small group journey too. So yeah, we have small group tonight where we're reading the book of Mark, and I'm excited about tonight because it's tonight and then next week. And then after that, I'm done with this round of small groups. So I'm starting a new one, and it's exciting because we're doing it on a new night with some new girls, and some of the girls are like newer to our church. So I get to know them. And anyway, again, not really sure why I wanted to update you guys on that, but apparently I wrote it down, so I will. Anyway, okay. Without further ado, here are some Reddit horror stories for photographers. Here we go. Oh, also, I was going to tell you guys, I haven't fully read these. I literally just typed it in ChatGPT and then was like, all right, let's talk about it. Let's see what happens. So hopefully they're not crazy. I mean, hopefully they are a little bit crazy, but you know what I mean? Like, hopefully I don't start reading something and I'm like, oh, I didn't mean to say that. We'll see what happens. Okay. They're all titled. So this one is titled The Missing Groom. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, here it goes. I was photographing a wedding when right after the ceremony, the groom just vanished. Everyone was looking for him, and the bride was starting to get really upset. After about an hour of panic, we found him in the parking lot, leaning against a car and looking pale. Apparently, he had a full-blown anxiety attack right after they said, "I do." Aw. He didn't want anyone to freak out, so he slipped away to calm himself down. The bride was really understanding, but also understandably stressed. We then had to rush through the rest of the photos, but the whole situation made the day feel really tense. I later found out that this was actually their second attempt at a wedding. The first one had been canceled due to a similar situation. Oh. I kind of felt bad for the whole thing until the last sentence. I'm like, dang, is there a reason he was panicking? You know? I kind of feel bad. I kind of feel bad asking that, but also I'm like, dang, their second attempt, that it happened the first time too. Maybe it was a sign. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Okay, here's the second one. The exclusive location. A couple told me that they had the perfect exclusive location for their engagement photos. I was excited, thinking that it would be somewhere unique and beautiful. When we arrived, however, it was a public park in the middle of a huge children's festival. We spent the entire shoot dodging screaming kids, clowns, and face painters. The couple still insisted that it was their spot. Okay, the fact that the children's festival was there is honestly the worst luck ever. But I've also had this. I've had where like the couple is like, oh, this is our spot. And so I think it's something a little bit more on like the exclusive side or whatever. And then it's just like, oh no, we go here every date night. So like this is our spot. But I think that was more just like a misunderstanding. The fact that the children's festival there though, that's rough. Okay, number 3. The uncooperative pets. Man, pets in sessions. Sometimes they're great, sometimes they're not. A couple hired me to do family portraits with their 2 large dogs. They assured me that the dogs were well behaved, but as soon as we got to the park, it was clear that these dogs had no intention of sitting still. Every time I tried to get the dogs into position, one would bolt after a squirrel or the other one would refuse to sit unless given a treat. The couple was getting frustrated and so was I, but obviously we kept trying. At one point, one of the dogs jumped up and knocked my camera right out of my hands, sending it tumbling into a muddy puddle. Absolutely not. The session ended with the dogs covered in mud, the couple looking exasperated, and me having to clean and repair my gear. I eventually managed to get a few decent shots, but it was one of the most challenging sessions I've ever done. Okay. Honestly, though, this could have been a lot worse. I'm sorry. The muddy puddle, the camera tumbling down into a muddy puddle. I'm glad your camera worked. I'm glad it wasn't too wet. I'm glad it wasn't too muddy. I'm glad that the lens didn't crack. There's so many things that could have gone wrong with this that didn't. So I would consider this chick lucky. Or guy. I don't know if it was a guy or girl, but they're lucky. Okay, number 4. The overzealous helper. And helper is in quotes. During a family session, one of the family members decided to help, in quotes, me get the kids to smile by making funny faces. Instead of laughing, however, the kids were terrified because this person thought doing a creepy clown impression would be funny. The rest of the session was an absolute disaster, with the kids crying and refusing to cooperate. Let me just say, I feel like that one isn't even like a horror story. That is just family sessions every time. I'm just kidding. Like, if you're a family photographer, bless you. You do so good. I don't understand how you do so good, because I look at other people's family photos and I'm like, that is stunning. I want to do that. And then I'll do it for like my own family and like love them so much. My family is amazing, but I also am just not born to be a family photographer, because stuff like this happens all the time. There's always one kid crying. That's just my 2 cents. There'll always be someone who is making a clown face, thinking it's funny, and then the baby is crying. Okay, number 5. The mysterious disappearing act. Ooh, I wonder if this one's similar to the first one. I was hired to shoot a wedding at a beautiful countryside venue. Everything was going well until the bride and groom disappeared during the reception. After about 30 minutes of searching the grounds, someone finally found them hiding in the venue's wine cellar. They were so stressed out from the wedding day chaos that they decided to take a break and drink and relax. The problem was that they didn't tell anyone, so the entire bridal party and guests were freaking out. When they finally emerged, slightly tipsy and much calmer, I had to act like nothing happened and get back to work capturing the event. It was awkward and delayed the whole schedule, but the photos turned out great. I'm not going to lie. When I heard they were in the wine cellar, I wasn't thinking they were just taking a break. Maybe that was just me. But like, you just got married, you know? 30 minutes is not that bad. Everyone should have calmed down at that wedding, honestly. But I also understand that like the schedule, you know, they probably should have told somebody. But I've done that. Like when I used to shoot weddings, at one point I definitely like helped a couple sneak away for a little bit, you know? I feel like it's part of our jobs. Okay, number 6, the missing memory card. I got hired to shoot my first big event and I was so nervous. Halfway through, I realized that I had been shooting the entire thing without a memory card in my camera. My heart sank. Thankfully, I had a backup camera with me and managed to salvage some of the event. Lesson learned, always double check your gear. Okay. First of all, I think I'm going to stop reading like the titles because I think they're giving them away. Like we knew what was coming for that one. But also my heart sank still when I read it. How did your camera, I guess my camera always tells me when I don't have a memory card in, like it won't let me shoot. I think that might be a setting that we can switch. So if you don't have that setting on your camera, do that like right now, because that is absolutely terrifying. I've had where like when I was first starting out where I like showed up to a shoot without my memory card. So yeah, I will never do that again. Oh, it freaks me out even thinking about it. That was terrible. And I think with the last horror stories that I read too, that happened to somebody else where they showed up. No, it was their camera was dead. Ugh, even worse. But yeah, one thing, like one trick, if this has ever happened to you and you're like terrified that it might happen again, or you just want to prevent it in general, one thing that I do is like I have my like memory card case, and that never leaves my camera bag. So I just keep it in there. What used to happen when I would like forget it, or I'd be like, oh gosh, I got to run back in and grab it or something like that. I was taking my case out to put my card in like the memory or the SD card slot, in my laptop or whatever. And I would leave the case by my laptop, and that has all my cards in it. So instead of doing that now, I keep it in the case and I just grab my card to put it in my laptop, and I never take my case out of my bag. And then I also have another one, like I have a backup SD card, and it's like a 128 gigabyte that I just leave in my camera bag just in case I ever, for whatever reason, forget anything else. I always have one extra in there. So, and actually, you know what? It saved me too. It saved me a couple weeks ago where I had a bunch of cards, but for whatever reason, I had messed up on like which cards I had with me and which ones had been formatted and hadn't. And that doesn't normally happen to me, but it was a couple weeks ago. And I was like, instead of looking through these at the session, I'm just going to grab my backup one that I know for sure is clear. And then you just have to remember to replace it. But that's my little trick. I hope that helps if anybody is dealing with that. Okay, number 7. I'm not giving you guys the title because it's spoiling them. Here we go. I was hired to shoot a corporate event at a fancy downtown hotel. Ooh. The event was going well, and I was taking shots of people mingling when I noticed someone who didn't quite fit in. The guy was wearing a tuxedo t-shirt and looked way too casual for the event. I figured he was just someone else's quirky plus one. But then I overheard him asking people if they had any spare change or if they could buy him a drink. Turns out he wasn't invited at all. He was a homeless man who had somehow slipped in. I had discreetly informed the event organizer, and security had to escort him out. It was very bizarre and definitely an awkward situation, and I ended up deleting all the photos that had him in the background just in case. Wait, the fact that the homeless man had a tuxedo t-shirt though is kind of awesome. Like, what if he makes like his thing crashing parties? You know what I mean? Okay, not that it's like a good idea, but is it a bad idea? I'm just saying, if you have that tuxedo t-shirt, that could take you places. That's kind of funny. But also like the fact that like the photographer had to delete all of those pictures. Thank you, AI generative stuff, because you can just circle them and delete, just get them removed from all the photos instead of having to delete them. Okay, number 8. I was photographing a wedding where the bride was extremely particular about every single photo. She demanded to see the back of my camera after every shot. That sucks. During the reception, she insisted on holding the camera herself to review photos. Sorry, I read ahead. Of course, she dropped it right into the pool. All images were lost, and to make it worse, she blamed me for letting her hold it. I'm sorry. What? I have no words. I literally have no words for that. Okay, I have so many questions. I wish I knew who this person was so that I could reach out to them. I really wish this weren't a Reddit person, because like, oh my gosh, they literally lost all their photos, but also this photographer lost their gear. Like, was the camera working, or did you, no, it was dropped into a pool. So the camera for sure was lost, and the lens probably, and the SD cards. That is like an absolute nightmare story. Yeah, number 8 so far, winning or losing, I guess. But winning as far as like which one's the worst horror story. I don't even know how to move on from that one. That one's terrible. And then the fact that she blamed her for letting the bride hold it after the bride apparently demanded to hold it. I cannot. Okay, let's move on. Number 9. We're almost done, guys. Number 9. I was out shooting some nature photos when this cute squirrel kept coming closer. It seemed friendly enough until suddenly it leaped onto my camera and wouldn't let go. I tried to stay calm, but it ran up onto my arm and bit me. I ended up with a nasty bite and found a new fear of squirrels. My camera survived though. Okay. Did it have rabies? It bit you. Like, did you go get shots? Weird enough, I have like a weirdly similar story to this, but I wasn't a photographer yet. I was in like the 7th grade and I grew up in Georgia. So like I wasn't used to snow or anything, but one time it was snowing. And so it was like a little snow day and I had on some Uggs, this is the era of Uggs, the first round of era of Uggs. And me and my friend Megan, we went, not the same Megan, just to clarify. Anyway, though, we went into her garage and I was walking in her garage and a squirrel like attacked my foot, like legitimately like holding on to my foot for dear life. I think maybe it was just cold or something. I don't know, but it freaked me out. And so of course I like kicked my foot, which is terrible because I sent the squirrel flying in the garage. And then I had a newfound fear of squirrels. So I feel very understood by this post, even though I wasn't attacked as far as like my camera goes. That is crazy. But at least her camera survived and my UGG survived. So never thought I would share that story on the podcast, but here we are from my 7th grade squirrel fears. Okay, guys, here is the last one, and then we'll kind of sum up this short and quick and sweet episode. Okay, number 10. I was shooting an outdoor engagement session at a park, and the weather was perfect. Clear skies, warm, and no wind. We were deep into the shoot when suddenly, out of nowhere, the sky turned black and the wind picked up like crazy. Within minutes, we were caught in a freak storm. The couple tried to keep going, but the wind was so strong that it knocked over my tripod, sending my camera crashing to the ground. Yikes. The storm passed as quickly as it arrived, leaving us soaked with a broken camera. Oh no. The couple felt terrible, but it wasn't their fault, obviously. I ended up lending them some of my backup clothes so that they could drive home without soaking their car seats. Oh, that is so sad. Also, you had backup clothes. But like, oh, that sucks. I would not trust having my camera. Wait, did it say I was on the beach? In my head, I pictured it on the beach. Oh no, I was at a park. Okay. I feel like whenever it's like high wind, so I never use a tripod for the beach. Like even for like self-portraits, I've thought about like, oh, I could go to the beach and just bring my tripod and do it. But even for like setting up a tripod for my phone for BTS, the beach is just not like a good place to do it at all because of the wind. So if it's ever windy, tripods out. Broke that guy's camera. Okay. So that is wild. But again, the backup clothes. Go that guy. Anyway, guys, that is pretty much all that I have for you today. Like I said, not feeling super well, pretty sick, trying to get better, trying to rest. So I decided to do a super short, quick, and easy episode today, but I hope that you liked it and had fun. I definitely like doing like the submission episodes, so I really want to do that more. If you have any ideas for submission episodes, DM me at Alex Blake Photography and give me some ideas. It could be submission episodes or just give me ideas in general of what you want to hear about because this is a community. This isn't just me yapping, although I do that and it's definitely fun to just chat, but also I want to like make it collaborative. I want to hear what you guys want to talk about and I'll definitely chat about it. So yeah, I will keep you guys updated on all my travel adventures. I'll update you guys all about Utah, but for next week I have a interview episode, so I can't wait to share with you who's going to be with me on the podcast. But for now, this is Let's Create with Alex Blake. I'm your host, Alex Blake, and I will see you next Thursday.
I just wanna make something that matters to myself, unique and distinctive, just as long as it's